Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk. It is episode 506. It's end of September 2024. And wow, Tracy, we missed last week. We were out of town. We had a nice little vacation. We got a lot to catch up on in real estate in the Albuquerque area. And it's Tigo and Tracy Venturi with the Venturi Realty Group of Real Broker here in New Mexico. You can reach us at 505-448-8888. Okay, Tracy, all kinds of things. We're going to talk about insurance just because there's a lot going on in Florida right now. We're going to talk about why we're in this housing affordability. One of the reasons, and there was a great piece on that. I'm going to get into that. And then also I have a new, I know you're going to find this surprising, but I have a new chart related to housing and rent affordability in the Albuquerque area.
And not on your list. I'm going to talk about the time of year, right? I mean, here it is. It's going to be October on Tuesday,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of like time to get your green chili if you haven't, because all the green chili is probably turning red right now, although I love red chili. So if you haven't gotten enough green chili in your freezer to last till next late July, now's the time. Have seen some people have gotten some amazing, I think it's Lemitar, that it's just like big and meaty and like perfect for roasting. Anyway, it makes me hungry. I'm
Yeah, I know.
thinking
There we
about
go.
green
Thinking
chili
about that
season.
smell of roasted green chili. I know people that have never been around a chili roaster have no idea what they're
So
missing.
so we're going to talk about a home of the week, Tigo. And
I've got a deal of the week too.
do you have a deal of the week?
I do.
I want to talk about a home of the week because we are coming up on Balloon Fiesta. And for many of us, the joy of seeing all those balloons in the air from our backyard in our pajamas with a cup of coffee in our hand is pretty awesome. Yeah, it's awesome to go to the balloon field, right? Get up early and drive there. But it's also awesome when you live in a house where they tend to fly over a lot. So we're going to talk about that. But we
Awesome.
can go back to the regularly scheduled program. We have a few open houses and things like that also.
I want to jump into rentals and price of renting a house or an apartment in the Albuquerque area. I put together some data. I pulled this from the Zillow, what they call the what do they call it? Observed rent index. And so they look at all the rents that are being charged in the area. They look at both multifamily. So multifamily would be apartments, could be duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, but basically anything where it's more than one family, and single family, and they break those two things out. And what they found is at the end of August, let's see, was this the end of August? Yeah. It was $150. That's the typical, I'm going to do air quote, typical multifamily property. Okay, so that could be a one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom, but multifamily. So they're saying $1,350 a month. And of course, there's a whole range in there. The typical single family home is $2,060 a month. So pretty big difference there between the multifamily. But the thing that's very curious about this is how much they've appreciated over the last few years. Single family homes have appreciated at a very high pace, and really up until last year they were appreciating at least a year over year rent increase was somewhere around 5, 6, 7%. At one point it was as high as 16% year over year on rent appreciation. But for multifamily, it's flattened. It's only appreciating or going up about 2, 3% right now. And so what happened is we're getting a lot of multifamily units in the pipeline. We see the
Right.
construction all over town.
A lot of apartments.
A lot of apartment, but most of those are what they call the 4 and 5 star or the higher,
Kind of a luxury apartment
yeah,
or not
luxury or
really
just
luxury,
higher,
but
higher, nicer end. It's not the what they call the B-rated type properties. And so they're not exactly affordable, but there's more of them. So that has made multifamily prices flatten out. But single family homes are still in high demand. And we see that just anecdotally. And we hear that from other people we're talking to. But again, it's flattened out a little bit. Also, we've got the seasonal thing as well, where rents kind of flatten out this time of year. So the big takeaway in that whole long thing was multifamily is flattening out. I saw some data that shows that multifamily vacancy rates are going to increase throughout the end of this year and into next year, but single family is still strong. And Tracy, we've got the single family build to rent neighborhoods that are currently under construction, and so we're going to see some of those come into the build as well.
So let's just talk about that for 1 second. Build to rent, just to throw that out real quick and keep talking. Build to rent is that some developers are building out whole neighborhoods for houses, not apartments,
Single family homes.
single family homes. I think the one in Gregos Farm in the North Valley has some attached
Correct.
townhome like style, but they're single family homes that are being built the whole neighborhood for rent.
Yeah, there's the
So
344 units going in out by Ventana Ranch. That one is some townhomes, some single family homes. It's a mix. There's another one being built on the west side, kind of near Russ Medical Center in Rio Rancho by Cabazon. Those are also single family homes that are being built. And if I remember, I think it's about 80 units or something like that, and 180. I don't remember off the top of my head. So those are coming as well because there is opportunity in that single family home for rent for investors. Investors are saying, okay, this is maybe a better way to invest your money than building more multifamily units right now. Plus,
Yep.
they're easier to do than building actual single family homes because you just have one plat. You don't have to do individual plats. You don't have to do all that subdividing. So the process to get them built is much easier than building single family homes and selling them off individually. So
there you go.
that was the build to rent quickie little thing. Wasn't even on our list, Tracy.
But you were originally talking about rents, and we're seeing a little pullback in rent
Yeah,
prices.
yeah.
There's this quick scoop for everybody.
I wouldn't say pullback. We're seeing the pace of increases slowing
flattening.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've just got to talk about a house.
Great.
Okay, so it's not our listing, but there's several around right now that have just amazing views, right? And with the balloon fiesta coming, we have people coming into town and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what a beautiful place this is." So I'm going to talk just about one quick one. It's at 337 Chimeja
Oh, now you did it.
Chimea Road, Corrales. Okay, so it's in Corrales and it's 700,000 and it's a two-story house, but the primary bedroom is on the main floor. But when you look at the views and the photography on this house, it's just beautiful. But the name of the street is Chimaja. It just confused me because I had Chimayo in and it's different from that. So anyway, Chimaja number 337 if you want to Google it. But it's a really beautiful home. It looks like it could use some updating, but it's got a lot of great spaces when you look at the floor plan, and the views to the mountains are just spectacular. I mean, the balloon fiesta from a patio there would just be gorgeous. But it's a very large, it's 1.89 acre lot. So there's a lot you can do with it. It sounds like too many lots. Anyway, great property. There's a couple others also in the bluff on the west side of the river. And as people who live on the west side of the river with Balloon Fiesta, we know a lot of the balloons come our way. They land in Rio Rancho, they land in Corrales. Although our friends in Oxbow, a lot of times they're getting a lot of balloons there also at South Coors area. But if you're looking for a house with a view, we can certainly find you one. So reach out.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, especially this time of year with the balloon fiesta and getting up early and watching the balloons launch. Tracy, I wanted to go over. I saw a story. It was the New York Times did. What do they call that? What do they call that? They call that the daily, where they do a little podcast, and they did one, and the title was "How the Cost of Housing Became So Crushing," and they did a really good job kind of going back in time and saying, okay, how did we get here? How did we get where housing affordability is the worst we've seen since the 80s? And why is there still such a shortage of homes? And the quick breakdown is basically they said it's really the gift that keeps on giving from the 2008 housing crisis, if you will. Okay, that was my language, but the 2008 housing crisis, after that happened,
Building stopped.
most small builders went out of business. most building altogether stopped. Big builders that had the financial ability to hang in there, they just laid people off, right? And they just stopped building, but they were still out there. But the small builders in particular went away and never came back.
I can think of a few locals that went away, right? Wallen, Artistic, and probably others.
Yeah, and then we had that the 10-year period where there was just massive underbuilding his from a historical standpoint because everybody was afraid and they were careful and they didn't want to overbuild and did get into the same mess. So now we're in this deficit of homes, and it's really difficult for builders to gear up to that level that we really need. The Harris part of the Harris economic plan is to build 3 million homes in the next 4 years. And there was an economist that specializes in labor for construction. And basically he did a breakdown and said, what to build that many homes in that short period of time, this is over and above what's already being built, is an impossibility unless we add just like a gazillion more people to the workforce to actually build them. We just don't have enough people. So
Well, and resources.
and resources. So that was an interesting piece. And then yeah, it was pretty interesting just saying that we've just been in this deficit, and there's no easy solution. And Tracy, we talked about it many times where there's challenges in New Mexico. Gross receipts tax is something that we have special and unique in New Mexico that really adds to the cost of building. And there's all the other problems, the permitting, the planning and zoning, the process, the infrastructure costs, everything. And I just remind everybody, for a home builder in New Mexico, just to have a finished lot, meaning there's a pad site, they've got utilities, they've got curb and gutter, they've got everything ready to go, but it's just dirt. They're paying $70 to $100,000 just for a tract neighborhood lot. And then add on top of that, they're probably paying another $20 to $30,000 in gross receipts tax when they sell the property too. And again, gross receipts tax is unique to New Mexico, which is an extra charge for new construction that you don't see in resale construction. So one of the reasons new construction is quite a bit more expensive. So yeah, we're just kind of fighting this uphill battle, and we'll see how it shakes out. But there's no simple solutions in the pipeline, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, changing the subject,
Please,
we've got
because
Hurricane
that was bummer news. Yeah,
Hurricane Helene,
yeah, yeah.
Helene, which battered the eastern part of the United States this week.
Yep.
Pretty devastating photos and news from the Florida area
It was.
onward north as it made its way across other states. It made us have this conversation, Tigo and I, over breakfast, like we often do. Coffee. We don't really have breakfast, but over morning coffee.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because we were talking about, we have some friends who had a place in Florida and they sold it because they said, we can't even get insurance on it because we're in an area that has a high hurricane risk and we just can't afford to lose the house and not have any insurance. So this was a couple of years ago they sold it. I was talking to them probably 2 months ago and they were saying that they're looking for a place in Florida again, and I was like, "What happened with the insurance concern?" And they said, "Well, we just really love Florida and we're trying to find something that's near the water but that we can still get insurance on." So I don't know what's happened with that. But that made us talk about the beautiful climate we have here in New Mexico and the relatively low number of natural disasters we have. I think, Tigo, when we talked to Bill Tobin with Farmers Insurance, he says the biggest weather related problem we have is hail.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, hail claims is by far the biggest
Right,
property insurance claim that we see in New Mexico.
right.
Of course, there's what happened up in Pandaray and Mora with the fires a few years ago. I mean, that's different too. I mean, we do have we are we've got this thing called the Rocky Mountains that are part of New Mexico too, and we do
True.
have fires too, and so those areas are a little bit more challenging than the metro areas for sure.
For sure, and we know that insurance rates for forested areas have gone up, or their inspections to make sure that trees are cut away from homes by a certain number of feet or yards or whatever. But what was interesting is I saw in the news that the wind speeds hit like in excess of 120 miles an hour. So it made me go, okay, well, what are the wind speeds here when we get those nasty March winds, right? And it's like things are blowing everywhere and we see roof tiles flying in the air. So I did a search, of course, of the record wind speeds in Albuquerque. New Mexico's different, but in Albuquerque at the airport, 71 miles per hour peak wind. At the base of the Sandia Peak tram, 97 miles per hour was a peak wind recorded. Coronado Airport, which is on the west side, between 80 and 90. So it's whipping across there. So for us, we don't get to 120 plus with the water and the water swells that we're pounding with the hurricane. Pretty rare for us to obviously airport 7 the peak. So,
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of water. That's one of the downsides for here,
well,
but
we don't have the hurricane
yeah,
waves crashing down on us to
exactly,
contend with when we
exactly.
have that wind. But our rates compared to Florida. So we did some research on it. And right now in 2023, I think it says the rates for insurance in the Florida area on average. So there's a lot of home prices and different homes in different parts of Florida. But on average for 2023, their homeowners insurance was just under $11,000 a year. And in New Mexico, I don't know, as listeners, how much you pay,
Well, I'll tell you that same data set put New Mexico at about $3,000.
which seems high to me.
Yeah, and I think, I'd really wanna dig into that more, but I know that a typical three-bedroom, two-bath, two-car garage, 1,500 square feet, you're probably gonna be paying 1,200 if you're owner occupied, maybe 1,800 if it's a rental, just very
Right.
ballpark. So I think it really obviously it depends on the property, and that's also a state average, 13 that 3,000. So that does include some of those mountain areas and heavily treated areas and forest fire
Prone
prone
areas.
areas.
Yeah.
So that might be why that seems higher than what we would think here in the metro.
Right. And I was going to say, Tigo, we don't have those big earthquakes and things. And then I went, well, we had that 2
We
point
did.
something or other, not but a few weeks ago. So there's obviously a fault line here. I remember hearing before that the Socorros had some minor earthquakes too, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
don't seem to have the ones that swallow up houses
I'm
and
so bummed I didn't feel it. I mean, we live in Corrales. We should well, we would probably been at our office here on Alameda when that happened, and I didn't feel it.
yeah, I didn't. I
I
think we were at home
I
actually, but
I felt like I missed out.
anyway, so we're fortunate because homeowners insurance rates here are still much less than some of the other parts of the country. However, we seem to be getting kind of our rates going up because of some of the catastrophic things that happen in other places like California and Florida. I think the other two higher places were was it Alabama and Mississippi, which must be similar for
Yeah,
flooding
yeah,
and hurricanes.
the top markets are oh, shoot, I had it here, Tracy, and
Yeah, I have
now
it.
I'm not
Florida,
ready.
Alabama,
There we go.
Mississippi, Louisiana. Louisiana and Oklahoma actually are the top 3. Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Florida.
Texas is really high, Mississippi is high, Colorado's high, and that must be the
Uh,
fire thing, I would guess.
Oklahoma's high because of tornadoes.
Right, right.
Yeah. So those are the bad ones. The best seem to be some of the northeast states and then the northwest.
Yeah.
So anyway, homeowners insurance, it's a
Homeowners
thing.
insurance is a fun thing. I hear sometimes when we talk about buying versus renting, and one of the things we talk about is say, okay, one of the advantages of buying is you're locking in your housing cost based
For perhaps 30
for
years.
perhaps 30 years if you have a mortgage, right?
Up to 30,
Up to
because
30
some
years,
people
and
choose
then
15 or whatever.
but the pushback we get as well, insurance goes up and taxes go up, and that's true. It is true. But do you think that your landlord is not getting those hits too and increasing your rent because of it. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna go down a little
Don't
rabbit.
go very far because I have other things to
Okay,
talk
okay.
about.
And I've got my deal of the week too. You had your deal, I got my deal. I did ChatGPT, which I'm all into. They've got their new model. It's '01 it is, and it does really deep analytics. And so I put in this scenario, said, okay, if I bought a house here and it appreciated this much, and over 10 years, and I paid rent this much, and it my rent increased this much, and it did the whole math, and it was pretty fascinating. It's a really good exercise for somebody that's trying to understand that.
That was extremely awesome, first of all, and people should get on and find that because you accounted for repairs and value increases and everything, rent and
Refinance.
refinance and costs and stuff. So it was really fascinating,
Yeah,
but
it's on my Facebook from a week or 2 ago, and
it's
it's
on the Facebook.
the Facebook,
Your the
yeah,
Facebook.
but it's,
Okay.
Tigo Venturi. You can find me. I've got a bunch of housing stuff there.
Hopefully it's all public. A couple houses just got to get to
Okay.
before your deal of the week. Da 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 da. 247 Rough Road. So this is out in Stanley, New Mexico. 160 acres, manufactured home. Stanley. It's just north outside of Edgewood, sort of, but it's 239,000, just price reduced from 250. Livable manufactured home with 160 acres. Think of what you could do with that and have your own place out on the range. So if you're interested in that, give us a call. We're at 448-8888. We also have two open houses. I just want to mention 110 Richmond, which is a really cool condo development that was built in 2009. It's near Central and Carlisle-ish, Richmond area. Very nice Nob Hill condo. It's listed at 345. It's going to be open Saturday. I can't remember the time, 11 to 1 probably, but get on our website. We've got all the open house data. Yep, 1 to 3 on Sunday, actually, Richmond, Sunday 1 to 3. And then we have another one that's new on the market and it will have an open house. It is 4805 Trumbull Southeast. It's in Ridgecrest, just west of San Mateo and north of Gibson, south of the central areas. So it's kind of where a lot of UNM and Air Force Base and all of those kind of people like to live, very proximate.
Yeah.
So it's a really beautiful property and it's listed at 475,000. So that one's going to be open too.
That's a 4-bedroom, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have a different one, Fort Camino Cerrito in Four Hills. It's 579,000. It's a 3,300-ish square foot, 4-bedroom, possibly 5 on a large lot. It's over a third of an acre. Really beautiful home, single level, great one. It it's it was under contract for a while. Somebody just backed out, so it's an opportunity for somebody new to pick it up. So if you want to see them, just give us a ring. We have plenty of others if you're looking for something specific. Tigo, I'm just dying to hear about your deal of the week.
Well, okay, I need to set it up. I know that just makes you cringe when I say that. But what I want to set up is that we've seen a lot of price reductions this last few weeks here. I saw just in the last 2 weeks, there are about 400 of the homes that are for sale. That's about maybe 20% of all the homes that are on the market because there's about 2,000. That's just in the last 2 weeks. I think total was probably about 40% of all the homes that are on the market have taken at least one price reduction. What we're seeing is there's there's activity out there, but it's a little sluggish for home buyers, and sellers are maybe getting a little more motivated as we move into this little slower time of year.
We did see a chart though at our team meeting this week that you pulled up that showed that homes getting shown was ticking up
It was.
based on lockbox activity. So we do, since the Fed announced the rate decrease, right? We've seen a few more buyers out looking. But go ahead on this deal of the week.
Actually, let's go down that road just a little bit further because that's important. Fannie Mae just put out Freddie Mac just put out their survey of mortgage rates. They do it like every week, and they look at what are mortgages are at a 2-year low this week. Lowest mortgage rates in the last 2 years. refinances are starting to pick up. I'm seeing some national data on that. People are starting to come back and refinance. Nobody was refinancing the last couple of years because there was no reason to. But if you have an 8% mortgage and now you can get a 6.25, it
That's
may make
serious,
sense. Yeah,
serious business
that may
there.
it makes sense. So we're in that 6.2, 6.25. There was 6.1 here not too long ago. You know
We
what's
just
crazy? I got to tell you something. Mortgage rates hit 6.2 in the daily survey. The day before, Fed cut a half a point. The day they cut and the day after, it ticked up and ticked up and ticked up because, like I keep saying, what the Fed does is always after what the bond market is already adjusted for. So mortgage rates were actually lower before the Fed cut the rate.
so I know we're way off track because we haven't gotten to your deal of the week yet, but I did work one of our brokers on our team, their client locked in a rate in the fives, and it was a very clean under 6%. So a really good rate. But go ahead, tell
They
us
they
about
they must have paid a point or some points for that, but maybe not because
I don't know.
well, we'd have to ask them. But so anyway, yeah, I mean, rates are starting to get into that thing where people are starting to come out. Now, what I wanted to talk about was we there's been this kind of narrative out there. There's no first time home buyer homes. There's nothing for first time home buyers. There's no affordable homes in Albuquerque. Well, I've got one for you. And it's actually been on the market for 30 days, which I'm kind of surprised. But it's $235,000 move-in ready home. It's in the southwest Albuquerque. It's not very big. It's just under 1,000 square feet. It's 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and it could be a 3 bedroom. There's some configuration you could do to make it a 3 bedroom, but it's a starter home. One car garage. It's a starter home. It's a true starter home, which we just has been a challenge for people.
And I'm going to correct you on that. It's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1 car garage. Now tell us more.
Did I
It's
say that off?
really cute.
Yeah, it is, and it's tile floors. It's in nice condition. It's not like a fixer upper. It's not like a project house that no, you got to spend another $20,000 fixing it up once you move in. No, it's move in ready for 235,000. So I just wanted to bring that up. It's not our listing. It's another broker we know, Stephanie Aragon. I was at a networking event the other day, and she mentioned, and I thought, wow, why isn't that sold? So I just thought I'd put it out there if you're
It's much
interested.
better than renting for sure.
Oh yeah, I
Because
mean
a
you're
lot of people are in 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartments that should be in this house.
yeah, this house, let's say you put 2.5 down, I
Three and
mean,
a half down.
3.5% down, 8,000, let's say $10,000 total to get into this house just on a FHA mortgage with closing costs.
Yeah, but there's a lot of down payment assistance programs that you could get
True.
into this house for under $500 probably.
Maybe, possibly. It
Okay.
depends. Yeah, I mean, on an MFA deal, yeah, you might be able to, and you're going to be probably under 2,000 a month in your payment with mortgage, with insurance, with mortgage insurance, and with taxes. So if you're interested in that, call us 505-448-8888 and just mention the deal of the week,
There
and
you go.
we'll let you know about it. Anything else, Tracy? I mean, we just rapid fire went through so much stuff. Oh, let's talk about the balloons because we're doing the balloon poster
Balloon
giveaway or
giveaway.
balloon print, balloon art. That sounds better than poster. We have a 2018 framed
Numbered
numbered
print.
numbered print. It's the one with the balloon with the Zia symbol, and it's got the road.
Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
That's
in
right.
that theme. They did
Yeah.
about 5 years in a row with that. It's a great, beautiful poster that we're giving away. All you have to do is get your name and number and email in to us, and we will get you registered. We're going to do a drawing for that framed balloon Fiesta print that's framed and ready for you. The last weekend of the Fiesta, we're going to be drawing a name. So get your registration in for that.
We have I'm so proud of this. I've got every single balloon print poster in our office here from 1979, which was the first official year for the prints and
Not the
posters.
first official year for the Balloon Fiesta. First year they started an official print, right?
Correct.
And you did such a great job, Tico, because a lot of those posters you
You guys
bought
all hear that?
rolled up in a canister
Yeah.
and you framed them and they're all up and they're beautiful. Of
Yeah.
course, that most of them have been up for 15 years, but you've continued to keep them updated. So we
45 of them
have
now.
every year. We're going to need a bigger office soon.
I
Our
just yeah,
wall space is almost out. But
it
if you
is.
want to see all of the posters, you're welcome to come by our office and take a look at them.
1119 Alameda, just right near Alameda and Rio Grande Boulevard. We're between the two Rio Grande Boulevards, north and south.
And we're just down the street from the actual Balloon Fiesta Park.
Yeah. We are the Venturi Realty Group, Rural Broker here in Albuquerque. You can reach us at 505-448-8888. You can find us on social media, all the normal places, and that's where you can also find where to sign up for that drawing for the balloon print if you want to get into that, or just call us and we'll send you the link. Thanks and have a great weekend.